Dungeon Master's Diary, Entry 6. The party has made their way further through the third floor of Aen'Banshier, finding their way through horrors uncovered. Two derelict rooms containing several cages hanging from the ceiling, filled with a cornucopia of rotting flesh and disease. Harsh tools of seemingly medical grade, worn away, bloody, almost as if torturous. Through exploring the other derelict rooms upon this floor, they uncover the workshop of this so-called Fleshcaller, a beast that created the caretaker in the first place. Depicted solely as a six-armed beast whose own self-mutilation seems to give it pleasure. In discovering its workshop, the party had freed two survivors, a dwarf by the name of Argon and a changeling by the name of Myos. Thankful for their aid, they ventured off in search of assistance, a way to get out, being captured by the shapeshifter Isrus, who beckoned them to safety. One cage within this workshop was unlike the others, solid, and required a strange key to unlock, of which the party had found earlier. Upon bringing the cage down to the ground and unlocking it, out emerged a very frail fae with very vibrant red hair. Upon closer inspection, it appeared to be Vidar, the old Fey Warden. As they nursed him back to health, along with them tending to their wounds from traps and inglorious uses of spells, they allow him to rest for 24 hours within the sanctity of Mordekainen's spells. Coming back to appearing to be back to full health, they clothe Vidar and give him a weapon that once belonged to a dear friend, called Mohan's Fang, a flame tongue. Grateful for this, Vidar has begun to venture out with the party and eventually finding some new allies. A great worm called Zathros, trapped in mortal form by a horrific spell, the Fleshcaller rending scales off this once majestic creature for some divisive pleasure. In greeting Zathros with kindness and not immediately wishing to attack, Zathros thought it wise to bestow upon them their last 4 scales. Now they've waiting. The Fleshcaller coming. So, that session was an interesting one. It's quite unusual for something to go so smoothly on the third floor, and I was thinking to myself, yeah, that could go one of two ways. I was hoping that they would find Vidar and Daron would find the secret chest that is in the quote-unquote shrine to Primus, the god of law and just lucky they did spot it, because it contained a piece of the Fey Warden set, which, for anyone that is unfamiliar with the way I tend to run games, the Fey Warden set is called a Curiosity. It's sort of a magic item set that I create solely for a specific character. Now, this can cause problems down the line, as in player character death. It could be that a player has a character that dies, but they want to play the same class. There's a problem with that because, for example, say a player is a ranged attacker and the items are tailored specifically towards that, and then they end up coming back after dying as a melee character with the same class. It doesn't work, so I have to take away all of the items, well, sort of let the players keep them as sort of a memento, and just give the new character a new set of items, which can take some time and needs a lot of playtesting. The Fey Warden set definitely needed some playtesting. Needed a lot, in fact. When I first started to do the curiosities for this campaign, it was, sort of okay buffs, I suppose. Like +2 item rolls, or you get proficiency in a skill, etc., etc. Whereas the more powerful curiosities, I would say, mostly because some characters come in at a later point or the player character hasn't found anything yet, they are considerably more powerful. And the only reason I've done this is due to the fact that a character can fall behind almost with other party members who are almost completely optimized. I thought, okay, the Fey Warden set and the Shroud set for Dotran, they are going to be a little bit more powerful and have some significant meaning to them. I thought, okay, I'll go ahead with that. But nonetheless, they found the old Fey Warden, of which the set belonged to, which is Vidar, who is the youngest son of the Dreadlord and the Lioness. Obviously, before they became the Dreadlord and before the Lioness Aglica died. And, they're kind and very much with nature, because they are a ranger subclass. They have a little pet familiar weasel called Dennis. This is odd for a Fae to call their companion that, but I think the way I designed Vidar is they enjoy simplicity in just human names. I find it very amusing. But when the guys were just wandering through this dungeon, they had Lorcan on his usual duties, check, unlock, disarm. The usual, which I'm fine with. I've actually come to terms with it recently, and I've just been like, okay, he's walked into a room, he's just going to click, 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 click. I'm just going to have to make a macro on Roll20 just to be like, okay, click, 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 he's done. And I was very much hoping that, Lorcan would fail a few of them, and he did. Unfortunately, he is a Herald Paladin, which is a NPC subclass, and there's not a lot of them, but alas, they found 2 of them. And their aura heals people every round, equal to their charisma modifier. And Lorcan, being a Paragon level character, i.e. level 40 plus, which people that are either just stumbling across this video and actually listened this far you're probably thinking, wow, that's crazy, or wow, you're crazy, why? And to that I say, the players wanted it, and I needed to design characters that were above them, but were friendlier. They are not hostile in any way, shape, or form. Like Vidar is a Paragon character, Lorcan is a Paragon character, and there's a few others out there. But the main idea is that the characters in their downtime can go and learn from them, train with them, learn new skills, improve their combat efficiency, but they have to reach a certain threshold. And that threshold is usually about level 27, 28. And I was like, okay, that's fine. Which, to be honest with you, the guys might reach that level. The Fleshcaller is kind of a scary creature in of its own right, but knowing that the party has 3 NPCs of whom they now are pretty well bonded with. They have Vidar, Zakthros, and themselves. They have 9 people, essentially. Well, 8 people and 1 great worm, which is a really ancient dragon. Like, best way I could describe it is in Skyrim, they have like elder dragons, and now they have like legendary dragons. And legendary dragons doesn't quite cut it. They're like above that, and then above it again. And it's just hard. But only way I could think about Zakthros was I wanted to do something a little bit different. I want to show the cruelty of the Dreadlord and his Fleshcaller and the Caretaker by extension. Now, I have the strange feeling that, because there are 9 characters facing off against the Fleshcaller, it's going to be a breeze. Don't get me wrong, they're going to fly through it like there's no problem. If they didn't have Vidar or Zakthros, it'd be a lot harder. Because Zakthros can just... Zakthros has some scary abilities, like stunning people for 5 minutes and just attacks the crap out of them. Which is wild. And I was like, I didn't even write that up. That was just in a document, and I just went, okay, I'm fine with that. Makes sense. Why would this colossally sized creature that fits in 50 by 50 feet square, why would it not be able to stun someone upon just whacking them? And it makes sense. But I am looking forward to seeing how the party react now, knowing that the Fleshcaller has shown up carrying Dotrin and Henra in its arms because the players weren't there and I needed a way to get them into the room. I think at the start of the session, I had Dotrin get dragged down into the graveyard where they finished off, and I had Henra pulled away into the shadows by an unseen force. Because that happens sometimes. The guys just haven't been unfortunate enough for me to roll that number yet. I just thought, yeah, let's do it. Now he comes. I just had the sudden feeling that this dungeon will be pretty much shorter, and I'm pretty much glad about that. What they do next, I still have no idea, and by that point, I'm sure they will be better off knowing that what lies ahead of them in the floor above will be a complete surprise. They will not anticipate it. They will probably be like, this is a change. Why is there, not this and this happening to us? Why do we have to do this? And I'm very excited for it because it's going to show a lot more lore within the dungeon, tell a bit more of a story. Yet when the lore sort of comes together, there's only a few. The fourth floor, the like I do as usual, quote unquote top floor, which it kind of isn't. It's a lot smaller and it allows for a strange amount of flexibility. So, best way to talk about this is without the players listening in, because they do listen to this, and I would share more of it with the people that might stumble on this and listen this far. The purpose of having a flexible dungeon, despite writing it out in advance and having like traps set up and having certain DCs, having certain monsters, it's important. But a roaming monster can sometimes ruin the flow. I find that telling a story about said monster and then having it wander about and then randomly attack would be interesting. So that's kind of what happened. But now the party is pretty much prepared to fight the Fleshcaller. They've set up traps. The Fleshcaller sent in a golem before it blew up. That's gonna screw the Fleshcaller over significantly because it's got certain abilities that needed that one creature. It didn't have a lot of HP, but it needed it. And I'm just waiting for the arguments to settle in as why are we, how did we get caught by this monster? I'm like, hey, don't at me, okay? I just needed a reason to get you in the room, but if you're wanting a reason, there are perfectly good reasons why you can escape it. It's strong, it's fast, and it has a certain little thing that happens when it grapples you, so have fun trying to get free. So yeah, I've probably rambled on long enough for this entry. It's been a bit of a stutter. Mostly just because there's a lot of things to get done. Coming to the end of a dungeon, I have to continuously plan. I now know that the party has an additional NPC. I'm just thinking to myself, boy, this is getting a bit nutty. Why couldn't they have just told the Fey Warden just to stay put and go and see Isris or stay with Zakthros and just stay put? Nope, we're just gonna take him along with us. I'm like, okay, time to go right up another stat block. Fantastic. Of which I still haven't finished yet because Rangers, they suck. And I need to redo the whole thing with the revised ones from the Unearthed Arcana, which came out like 3 years ago. 4, I think. So I need to go find that document, round that all off, and then just stick it together, make it a Paragon character, which takes even longer, and then, ta-da, done. So, yeah. Thank you very much for listening to this entry into the Dungeon Master's Diary, and, as always, stay safe out there, adventurers.